What's up, guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. And I'm a little bit late on this. I wanted like 24 hours before I talked about this. I also, like all of you, got the very sad news yesterday as I was streaming that Katsuhiro Harada, I mean, basically the father of Tekken, the face of Tekken, the developer of Tekken, the super charming announcer, sit the hell down and shut the hell up. You know, when we were gonna get that amazing trailer, the guy who travels to as many tournaments as he can, although he's working his ass off constantly, just to hang out with the fans of his game, and, you know, who talks about lore on Twitter, like, I don't know how many times per day, trying to answer just the most common random player who has a question regarding the lore, and who voiced Law and Yoshi in Tekken 1. Harada. Yeah, it was a lot to take in yesterday. It just came as an absolute shock, even though I remember him during EVO France publicly stated that he had been having some health problems, specifically with his kidneys, their function had gone down. And he said that, well, soon you won't see me again for a while. I'm going to have to take a break now. In 2024, I think he also tweeted that he had a tough time at work and had seen some health problems. But even with all of these tweets by him and statements, it just came as a complete shock that he's just resigning from Bandai Namco, you know, and the Tekken project. This is a guy you always expect to be there. He even said, like, at the 30th anniversary, so this was in November, I think, of last year, 2024, he was in Stockholm for an event. Just for one day, he came to Stockholm to hang out with the Swedish Tekken community and to celebrate 30 years of Tekken. And someone asked him, like, he did a Q&A, and a Tekken player was like, so are you guys gonna do Tekken 9? Will you work on that? And Murray was there as well. Harada said that I absolutely want to do one more game. I have one more game left in me, and it's gonna be Tekken 9. I was there live, I heard that, so, you know, that's what you expect. But of course, you know, things happen, things outside of your control. Honestly, how many developers, you know, hang out with their community at tournaments the way he has? A lot of people are now like, oh my god, what's going to happen to Tekken? Because, you know, he's the vision behind it, he calls the shots. Since Tekken 3, he's been the boss, right? And, you know, the face of Tekken, and the one in Bandai Namco that has always been sort of like, that's the guy we trust with the game. But he wasn't the director of Tekken 7. That was Nakatsu. And he was not the director of Tekken 8. Like, already with Tekken 7, he stepped back to become like an overarching like project manager at Bandai Namco. He would oversee many different projects. Like, Tekken 7 did so well that Bandai Namco were like, okay, good guy, he should do more. And he would actually travel, you know, all over the world to meet up with developers and see what are they doing, what kind of projects are you guys doing here? Is this something for Bandai Namco to get behind and publish? Those of you who think like, oh, Tekken 7, Tekken 8, he's been the mastermind, and it's like, nah. And also, you gotta remember that games are gigantic collaborative effort. I feel like often we think that the director of a movie or a director of a game or a producer of a game, they are single-handedly responsible for everything great about that product. Like, it's a huge effort, and there's many different artists and game designers at play, and it's like, whatever we got in Tekken 8, I wonder how much of it had to do with Harada. And the same with Tekken 7. Another point I want to make in terms of what we're losing here as a community is what I tried to stress before. Like, how many developers are on Twitter interacting with their fans daily? How many developers go to tournaments constantly? This guy had a lot of responsibility at Bandai Namco. Still went out of his way to travel to as many events as he could just to represent Tekken and to interact with the fans. Because he himself is such a fan of the game, even though he's still largely the creator of this franchise. And especially rare it seems to be with Japanese developers to do that. And also interacting in English all the time with his fans. I think we've been very blessed, the Tekken community, to have this guy. And so charismatic, so charming. Lovely character, you know, seeing him do interviews, seeing him on stage at EVO, taunting us, and then, okay, we have nothing to show, and he leaves, and then they blast the trailer, and he's just joking. Upsetting to me is we're gonna lose the guy who At Bandai Namco, Tekken 5 did very well, very well. Tekken 5 DR did very well. Tekken 6, not so well. Didn't even do half of what Tekken 5 did, but still did okay. But then came Tag 2 and was a gigantic flop. I was lucky enough to get a private meeting with Harada in 2019 through Bandai Namco. He was in Stockholm and I got to meet him. But I asked him about Tag 2. And he told me, like, Bandai Namco board of directors, they were done with Tekken. Bandai Namco was done with Tekken. They were like, there's no audience for this anymore. We've seen the sales. They have just gone down since Tekken 5. Tag 2 is a huge flop. There's clearly not an audience for this anymore. But he wouldn't give up, So he did multiple meetings and presentations that he did personally to the board of directors, trying to convince them to give Tekken another shot, and he would present his vision and idea for Tekken 7. And eventually, he persuaded them to greenlight Tekken 7 on a very modest budget. That's the guy that's now resigning. And if that doesn't sadden you as a Tekken fan, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what will. I'm gonna read his statement here. I'd like to share that I'll be leaving Bandai Namco at the end of 2025. So it's like effective immediate. With the Tekken series reaching its 30th anniversary, an important milestone for a project I've devoted much of my life to, I felt this was the most fitting moment to bring one chapter to a close. My roots lie in the days when I supported small local tournaments in Japanese arcades and in small halls and community centers overseas. I still remember carrying arcade cabinets by myself, encouraging people to please try Tekken, and directly facing the players right in front of me. And that's certainly something a million fans can corroborate. Like, I don't know how many decades now he's been traveling to events. The conversations and atmosphere we shared in those places became the core of who I am as a developer and game creator. Even as the times changed, those experiences have remained at the center of my identity. And even after the tournament scene grew much larger, so this is Tekken 7, many of you continue to treat me like an old friend, challenging me at venues, inviting me out for drinks at bars. Those memories are also deeply precious to me. That's very wholesome. In recent years, I experienced the loss of several close friends in my personal life, and in my professional life, I witnessed the retirement or passing of many senior colleagues whom I deeply respect. It wasn't long ago now, was it only a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Itagaki, right? The Dead or Alive creator, he passed away. And Harada tweeted about it and seemed very, very distraught at his passing. They had a bit of a rivalry over the decades, and Itagaki would many times taunt Harada regarding Tekken. Oh, Tekken is shit, Dead or Alive is better. It always came off as very friendly banter. Those accumulated events maybe reflect on the time I have left as a creator. During that period, I sought advice from Ken Kutaragi, whom I respect as though he were another father, and received invaluable encouragement and guidance. His words quietly supported me in making this decision. Over the past 4 to 5 years, I've gradually handed over all of my responsibilities, as well as the stories and world building I oversaw, to the team, bringing me to the present day. Looking back, I was fortunate to work on an extraordinary variety of projects, VR titles such as Summer Lesson, Pokken Tournament, the Soul Calibur series, and many others, both inside and outside the company. Each project was full of new discoveries and learning, and every one of them became an irreplaceable experience for me. To everyone who has supported me, to communities around the world, and to all the colleagues who have walked alongside me for so many years, I offer my deepest gratitude. I'll share more about my next steps at a later date. Thank you very much for everything. Although I will be leaving the company at the end of 2025, Bandai Namco has asked me to appear at the Tekken World Tour Finals at the end of January 2026. So I expect to attend as a guest. Right, because he won't be officially working for them at that point, because that's with the end of the year he resigns. And I will also be at Tekken World Tour Finals. It's my first Tekken World Tour event I go to, or it's my first Tekken World Tour Finals. And it's in Sweden, it's in Malmö. And it's so weird. It's going to be the first one I go to, and it's the one where Harada now is no longer at Bandai Namco. And is, you know, resigning and is going to step away from Tekken. But you know what? It's so great that I get to meet him, you know. And you can thank him personally for all of the years of service. For 30 years, I kept saying I'll do it someday and never once performed as a DJ at a tournament event. So instead, I will be releasing for the first and last time a 60-minute Tekken DJ-style non-stop DJ mix, personally edited by myself together with this announcement. Listening to it brings back many memories. Thank you again sincerely for all of these years. So if you want to listen to this mix, you can go to Harada's Twitter right now. And this is, of course, the latest post, and you can just click that and listen to it. That's his statement, a very nice and touching statement indeed. If you've read anything regarding what working culture and work life is in Japan, it is unbelievably intense. Like, even at a junior position, you are expected to work all the fucking time. I know he has a family. Then, you know, of course, he talked about having, you know, health concerns. Probably a lot of that goes into like thinking, fuck, how much longer do I want to do this? Do I want to prioritize other things in life? I got a meeting again with Harada in November 2024 on the 30th anniversary there in Stockholm. I got to talk to both Murray and Harada. They were so nice, as they always are, but they seemed a little bit downer. And this was before season 2. And I was like, well, how do you guys feel about the reception to Tekken 8? And they were like, well, you know, do you think they like it? Already then, there was a little bit of a negative vibe, like, we don't know if the fans like the game, you know, they seemed a little bit downer. And then, of course, you know, season 2 comes down, and it's like a nuclear meltdown. And I remember when we did the presentation at EVO, and this was, you know, that was the first time we saw them on stage since season 2 released, and Harada was like, I don't know, it's like his soul had been stripped out of him. Both him and Murray, they seemed like completely defeated. It wasn't that same energy we used to see, you know. And Harada has expressed a few times also how difficult it's been being on Twitter sometimes with some of the fan interactions he gets. I'm speculating here. I don't know if, like, you know, season 2 clusterfuck or any of that is a factor in this. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least a contributing factor. It should be mentioned, though, that Murray and Harada have received a lot of, I gotta say, pretty unfair treatment many times that I've personally seen on social media. And not everyone is equipped to deal with that sort of stuff. You know, stuff like that has happened as well. You know, a few days ago, I think Harada made a statement to a journalist regarding, you know, Street Fighter 6. They've switched now to a pay-per-view model. Correct me if I'm wrong, on Capcom Pro Tour. But you gotta pay money to watch the Capcom Pro Tour. And this also, of course, completely shuts down Street Fighter streamers from restreaming those events. And in my opinion, it's like the dumbest decision like ever. And Harada made a statement saying, oh, well, that's interesting. But then in many words said, we're not going to do that. But then Harada got so much shit on social media due to Tekken 8 doomers saying, oh, they're gonna, all the Tekken World Tour is gonna become pay-per-view, blah, fuck those guys, you know, corporate shield, fuck you. That Harada had to go on Twitter and say, no, we're not doing that. I did tell them when I met them last year that I don't think you guys should be on social media. And you should have like a community manager. I mean, we're so lucky to have them on social media, but it's like, it's a very ungrateful position to be in when it turns negative, you know. The internet in general, you know, can be a very mean place. First time I met Murray was in March of 2023 on the Alpha Test in Lyon, in France. And one of the first things he asked me was like, man, you get so much fucking shit online. How the fuck do you handle it? How do you cope with this social media hate shit? And I just told him, like, well, I'm pretty thick-skinned. I don't know, I can take it, but yeah, it's just not for everyone. This sounds like a very healthy decision for him. You know, you should not be working if you're not feeling it. We're all so grateful for what he's done, and it's so unbelievably sad to see him go. And now I know we're not gonna have that charismatic leader, father of Tekken figure any more tournaments, you know, hanging out with the fans, doing presentations regarding trailers, what you can expect next for the game. And that passionate, hyper fan, you know, who convinced the board of directors to give Tekken another shot when Tekken was almost dead and buried. And what does this mean, you know, for the future of Tekken? You know, again, I think he hasn't been that involved, I think, with all of the decisions we've seen with Tekken 8. So I think it's going to continue the way it has, but who knows what this means for the future of the game. I'm just super, super sad to hear this, but still grateful I'll be able to see him in January at the Tekken World Tour Finals, and I can, you know, personally shake his hand yet again and thank him for everything he's done for the game. But yeah, those are going to be my thoughts of that. Super sad day for our community, extremely sad day for the fighting game community and just developers everywhere. Like, this guy is iconic. Like, even outside of our close Tekken circle, this man has, you know, a tremendous amount of respect, you know.